So, as y'all can see from that first picture in the beginning of the video, apparently, Keke Palmer and Darius, her baby father, you know, apparently they spent Kiki's 30th birthday together. Now, let's start from the beginning of this whole thing because apparently she went to the Usher concert. Y'all know the whole thing. He basically commented on her outfit and how she was acting with Usher and all that type of stuff. Now, I don't agree, exactly with him addressing the situation online. You know what I'm saying? But that should have been a conversation he had at home. But, you know, seeing as how he put all that on the internet, it's pretty much fair game for people to comment on it. You know what I'm saying? Because once you put things on the internet, it's like fair game, But I feel like if this was a setup all from the beginning for them to capitalize and make money off of the whole thing, smart play, honestly. Because people are gullible, they'll fall for anything, especially the way everything is going nowadays. And honestly, I feel like that's a smart play on their part, you know. But if it wasn't, all I have to say is sometimes it's just better to mind your business and not even, say anything. Now, as far as like all the bloggers and all the articles and stuff that was posted, those people are gonna make their money. They could care less regardless. But but it's like, I feel like it was a whole lot of discussions being had, and people were leaving a whole bunch of comments on, social media pages and stuff like that about the whole situation. And a lot of men were, kind of bashing Keke, and a lot of women were kind of bashing him. You know what I'm saying? And it was points on both sides. You know what I'm saying, to be made. But I just feel like all in all, that's their relationship. And the thing about relationships, especially when it's just, two people, they have their own issues. In a relationship, those two people have their own issues. They have their own wants and needs. And that's up to them to decide what works for them, how they decide to communicate, how they decide to deal with things. You know what I'm saying? And Keke and Darius, I don't know how long exactly they've been together. I feel like we've seen them in public on the scene for at least a year, maybe two. I'd say like 2 years at the most. Maybe like two and a half, maybe three. Timeline's kind of shaky for me because I wasn't really following all of this like that. Because I do follow Keke on Instagram, but not well enough to know exactly when Darius popped into the scene, like when they publicly, showed everybody they were together. But I do know the baby is not. I don't even think a year old. So I would say like 2 to 3 years. But Keke to me, as I feel like, always seemed like a smart woman. You never really seen her in anything really scandalous like that. You know what I'm saying? And I felt like if there was anybody to give the benefit of the doubt, it should have been Keke. And I feel like a lot of the bashing she got was kind of uncalled for a bit. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like, and don't get me wrong, because Darius definitely got a whole lot of bashing, way more than Keke did. But, you know, I feel like a lot of the men were attacking her and kind of, I guess you would say conservative women were kind of bashing Keke a bit. And I feel like if anybody deserves the benefit of the doubt, it would be Keke. I feel like she hasn't really given anybody a reason to, feel like she was maliciously trying to, do anything to hurt him in any type of way. But even if it's like that's an issue for them, and this is kind of why you should stay out of people's like relationships and businesses, because now look, you know, she has a birthday, she's spending it with him, they're going on live together, they look like they're back together, but who's to say? Again, that's their business. But it's like this whole situation is like a good example is people suggest, ain't nothing wrong with voicing your opinion, but it was like everybody was just assuming that they weren't together or anything, or she was, a lot of people were coming at her like, oh, she's choosing to be a single mother and destroying families and all this and that. Like, people were going crazy. But I'd have to say, like, this is like, because no, I feel like neither one of them exactly confirmed whether they were together or not. Because I feel like Darius said some things in the beginning, but Keke didn't really say anything. Now, she made some subliminal things, but nothing to confirm exactly that, you know, they weren't together. So, and I feel like they, mostly Keke, but they all like kind of played everybody and capitalized it, made money off it, whatever. And honestly, that's good for them. And that should tell people to mind their business at that point, because it's like you never know what these people are doing. You know, they're not. Keke hasn't been one to go too inside of her personal life, which is why we never exactly knew whether they were still together or not. So, but this is it's interesting because it's like I don't know. They like I feel like just finessed everybody, and I feel like well, so be it. Like you know what I'm saying? Because I don't feel like it was an issue where they had to break up or anything. You know, and apparently neither did they. Assuming that they're still together anyway, but. I didn't feel like it was an issue like that. They probably talked about it, got some clarity on it. But to me, they always seem to be like a goofy type, like they could laugh together type of relationship. So I feel like they probably were sitting back laughing about this whole thing. I'm not gonna hold you, like, and that's the crazy part to me. I was like, because I feel like neither one of them exactly confirmed it. That's why I was never too, you know what I'm saying? Didn't get my opinion too crazy on this because I'm like, they could still be together for all we know. They just had a child. I feel like, especially Keke, like I feel like they would be, they would try to give it another chance if they want, to work that out. Considering they just had a child. But this is funny. I mean, because this is kind of like the situation with Lil Durk in India, where they like broke up or weren't speaking to each other for a minute. And, everybody was voicing their opinions on that, and then lo and behold, they're still together. You know what I mean? Because like just like Keke and Darius, like Durk and India, they've been together for a little minute. They have a child together, and it's like not only that, but Lil Durk and India, like Dirk, he proposed to India. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you never know. And then lo and behold, they're together. It's just like I feel like people should stop with the bashing type of thing, because it's like you do all of that and probably in support of whoever side you're on or whatever, but and then they end up being with that person anyway. So it's just like it's a waste of time. Like it's crazy. It's like again, nothing wrong with voicing your opinion, but it's just the bashing part of it, because they went into a whole frenzy with this man, and basically he had to like what deactivate his stuff for a little minute. Like it's like it shouldn't even went that far. Like it shouldn't even went that far. Like it's like yes, what he did was wrong, but that was also his fault for bringing it to the internet too. So it's like kind of iffy with that part of it. But yeah, man, it's just it's so crazy to me. But I feel like we don't really know any too much about Darius. We don't really know anything about him like that. So who's to exactly say what type of guy he actually is? The only person who would know is Keke. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like everybody was just calling him insecure and all this and that. In regard to the situation, yes, it could appear that he was insecure about all of it. But you never know what happened prior to that might have caused him to say the things that he said. They could have had an argument before she left the house, anything. So you really don't know. But It's just like this one of them situations where it's like this is their relationship, and people should just kind of stay out of it, because you never know exactly what's going on behind the scenes or what's going on. You know, for all you know, they could have had that whole thing happen. And they could be sitting there right in the same bed with each other, looking at all the stuff everybody's saying and laughing. Never know. Like it's just one of those things. Like relationships is between two people. If it's a monogamous relationship, because there's other types of relationships out there. It's none of my business. But but a monogamous relationship is like, bro, people. You got two people and they have to figure out how they are gonna navigate their relationship, because everything doesn't work for everybody. Every certain things aren't gonna work for other relationships. Like one thing might work for one relationship, that doesn't mean it's gonna work for another one. You know, and I feel like some people don't realize that. You know, because certain people was feeling like certain things should be one way and this way that way. Because he might be a traditional man, but who's to say Keke isn't? Like, I understand that she also has a job, but that doesn't mean, the things that she wants, like, in her relationship might be traditional, meaning maybe the roles or certain things that she does or he does, The way she dresses is a whole other thing. I feel like that shouldn't really determine whether you're traditional or modern. But I feel like for the most part, Kiki hasn't really done anything that's like, oh my god, like so obscure. Like, I feel like she's always been pretty, like, she's always carried herself in a respectful way, even to this point, So cause I feel like a whole lot of people were trying to say she was doing too much, and after she had the baby, all the comments she was getting was going to her head because she been stepping on motherfuckers' necks, bro. She been popping out outfits crazy, going ham. And the thing is, like, he was loving it, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I feel like it could have been something that happened prior that made him go on the internet and say all that, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, sometimes you just gotta leave people's relationships alone, because people go through things. Sometimes people argue, people break up, they get back together, they, break up, make up. This is never know. Like, it's like, yeah. And they're still, relatively young. So they're still kind of figuring it out. Like, she's 30. I'm not exactly sure how old he is. You know what I'm saying? But it's still fairly young, so it's like they still have time to figure all of that out, you know. And I feel like moving forward, I feel like they both know better than to release too much information on their situation. Hopefully they do, because unless they're trying to profit off it again, which if I was the people, I wouldn't even be falling for that after this. Because I feel like it was a setup for the beginning and they was finessing the whole time. Or even if it wasn't, at some point they started finessing it. And props to them. Capitalize off it. Why not? Everybody got their name in your mouth, you might as well. So, but yeah, let me know what y'all think. Like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate any and all support. Yeah, this this has been an interesting topic that has been going on for a few months now, I think. But yeah, let me know what y'all think. I'm out.